There is a moment just before sunrise when the hills above Los Angeles go completely still. The city below is a grid of amber light stretching 40 miles to the ocean. And up here, behind gates that most people will never approach, the houses wait. Not houses exactly. These are statements, architectural arguments, built by people who decided that if you are going to occupy space on this earth, you might as well do it in a way that commands attention for 100 years. Today, we go inside. The language of luxury architecture is not about excess. It is about restraint applied to extraordinary resources. When you stand at the entrance of a true Hollywood megamansion, the first thing you notice is not the size, it is the silence. The way the architecture absorbs sound, the way the stone, the glass, and the negative space work together to create a kind of pressure, a feeling that the world outside has been gently, definitively left behind. This is intentional. Every element at this level of design is intentional. The gate is set back 30 feet from the road, far enough that the house is never visible from outside. This is not security, it is psychological architecture, the separation of the visitor from the ordinary world before they have even arrived. The driveway is not concrete. It is honed Italian limestone, the same stone used in the floors of the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, laid in a gentle curve that forces the eye forward and upward toward the house that grows slowly, magnificently into view. The facades of Hollywood's greatest mansions fall broadly into three architectural languages. The first is California modernism, the tradition of Neutra and Schindler, carried forward by a generation of architects who understood that in Los Angeles, the outdoors is never truly outside. Floor-to-ceiling glass, cantilevered volumes that appear to float above the hillside, the dissolution of the boundary between interior and exterior, so that the city, the canyon, the ocean on the horizon all become part of the room. These homes are designed to disappear. The architecture exists not to announce itself, but to frame the landscape, to turn a hillside view into a living painting that changes with every hour of light. The second language is what architects here call the new Mediterranean. Warm limestone and travertine, arched loggia, courtyard gardens where water moves through custom channels cut into antique stone. These are homes that want you to feel you have arrived somewhere ancient, somewhere that existed long before you and will endure long after. The scale is imperial. The materials are European. The effect is of a palazzo that somehow grew from a California hillside. The third language, and the one that defines the most extraordinary homes of the current generation, is Zen modernism. We enter through a pivot door. Not a hinge door, a pivot door. 7 feet wide, 12 feet tall, cast from a single slab of blackened steel. It weighs 900 pounds. It opens with the pressure of 2 fingers. The entry hall is 30 feet wide and 40 feet long and completely empty. No furniture, no art on the walls, no decoration of any kind, just the floor. 4-inch slabs of Calicut marble, book-matched so that each pair of tiles forms a perfect mirror image, like an open book of stone. And a ceiling 22 feet above, and a single skylight the width of the room that throws a column of pure white light down the center of the space. You stand in it, and you are still. That is the architecture working exactly as intended. The living room arrives at the end of a 30-foot hallway, a deliberate compression before the reveal. The hallway is narrow, dark, lined in the same black basalt as the exterior. And then the room opens. Floor-to-ceiling glass on 3 sides. 270 degrees of Los Angeles spread below you from the Pacific Ocean to the San Gabriel Mountains, 50 miles across. The furniture, 3 pieces only, sits in the center of the space. 2 custom sofas in undyed raw wool, and a single coffee table carved from a single block of white onyx, backlit from within so that it appears to glow like a lantern. The room costs more per square foot than any residential space in the Western Hemisphere. It contains almost nothing, and it is without question the most beautiful room you have ever stood in. The kitchen in a Hollywood mega-mansion is not a kitchen in any conventional sense. It is a laboratory, a theater, a statement of priorities. The countertops, a single continuous slab of Patagonian quartzite, 12 feet long, 4 feet deep, flown from Argentina and installed by a team of 6 specialist stone setters over 3 days. The appliances all built in, all concealed behind panels of the same pale oak as the cabinetry, so that when not in use, the kitchen appears to be simply a beautiful room of warm wood and stone with no visible function at all. The refrigerator is the size of a walk-in closet. The wine storage, a glass-walled, temperature-controlled room visible from the dining area, holds 4,000 bottles, organized by region, by vintage, by the precise optimal drinking window for each wine. The chef's table, a separate, smaller kitchen behind the main one, is where the actual cooking happens. The main kitchen is for looking at. The master suite occupies the entire eastern wing of the house. 3,000 square feet of private space, a bedroom, a sitting room, a study, 2 bathrooms, 2 dressing rooms, and a private terrace that wraps the entire wing. The bedroom itself, a California king bed on a platform of solid walnut, floating in the center of the room, flanked by nothing except space and the floor-to-ceiling glass beyond which the city glows at night like a second sky. No headboard, no nightstands in the conventional sense, just 2 floating shelves of the same walnut as the platform, cantilevered from the wall, each holding a single object. On the left, a glass of water. On the right, a single orchid in a ceramic pot. The bathroom is not a bathroom. It is a spa carved from a single variety of stone, light gray Pietra Serena from Florence. Floor, walls, ceiling, all the same material, unbroken except by the steel of the fixtures. The shower is open, no door, no screen, a room within the room where water falls from a ceiling panel the size of a dining table. The freestanding tub, 1 piece of solid marble, hand-carved to a depth of 32 inches, positioned so that when you lie in it, the only thing you see is the sky. Somewhere in this house, there are 12 more bedrooms, each one designed with the same obsessive care, each one a different meditation on the same fundamental question: what does it feel like to be completely at home? The outdoor spaces of Hollywood's mega-mansions are not amenities, they are destinations. The lot on which this particular house sits is 3 acres, vast for the Hollywood Hills, where land is measured in fractions and traded in the hundreds of millions. Of those 3 acres, 1 full acre has been given entirely to the garden. Not a garden in the English sense, the rolling lawns and herbaceous borders of inherited wealth. A Zen garden, designed by a landscape architect who studied for 5 years under a master gardener in Kyoto, before returning to California to build some of the most meditative private outdoor spaces in the Western world. Every great house has a moment that stops you. Not the pool, not the view, not the kitchen or the master suite or the garden pavilion. A detail, something small, something that required a level of thought and care so far beyond necessity that it announces, quietly, without words, that the people who built this were different. In this house, that moment is the library door handle. It is a single piece of Japanese bronze cast in the Meiji period over a century ago, sourced by the interior designer after 3 years of searching through auction houses and private collections across Europe and Asia. It was never made to be a door handle. It was a Buddhist ceremonial object, a ritual bell clapper, whose proportions happened to be exactly right for the human hand when grasping a door. The designer recognized this, negotiated for 18 months, paid more for this single object than most people earn in a year. And every day, the person who lives in this house reaches for that handle to enter their library. And every day, whether consciously or not, their hand feels something made with extraordinary skill and care by a craftsperson who died 100 years before this house was imagined. That is the architecture of detail. The technology in Hollywood's greatest homes is designed around a single principle. It should be invisible until needed, and when needed, it should feel like magic. Every piece of glass in this house is electrochromic. At the touch of a surface or a voice command, the transparency of any window can shift from completely clear to completely opaque in 4 seconds. No curtains, no blinds, no mechanism of any kind visible from inside, just glass that changes its own mind. The lighting system, 18,000 individual points across the property, is programmable to within 1% of any color temperature in the visible spectrum. The system has 470 pre-programmed scenes, from the specific quality of light in Kyoto in autumn to the exact blue-white of a Santorini afternoon. Every room in the house can become any room in the world. The art. In the most extraordinary homes at this level, the art is not decoration, it is architecture. A single piece, a 40-foot wide canvas by a living artist whose name sits among the top 20 most valuable in the world, occupies the entire south wall of the great room. It was commissioned specifically for this wall. The artist spent 6 weeks in the house before beginning the work, studying the light at different hours, the way the canvas would be seen from the kitchen, from the dining table, from the sofa, from the standing position by the window. The final painting is different from every position in the room. At 10 in the morning, the natural light from the east windows illuminates its gold tones. At 4 in the afternoon, the western light brings out the blue. At night, under the precise lighting the designer specified, the painting appears almost to move. It cost $11 million. It was the best money spent in the entire project. We return to the front gate. The same gate we entered through. How long ago? Time moves differently inside spaces designed with this much care. The city is below us. The hills are behind us. The house, already invisible from here, already retreated behind its limestone walls and its perfectly placed trees, waits in silence for the day's last light.